All right, Ryan, we're back from the break. We just got a whole class on hacking and all the stuff that you're capable of and all the things we need to be worried about. But let's talk about why you came here. And that's what you're doing now. You're basically hunting down these people that are exploiting children sexually on the internet and in person.
Yeah.
I know you have a couple of horrific stories. One guy that was, I think it was his daughter in the bathtub.
Yeah. So I'll start, kind of where that all came from. I was at a friend's house, and I got a text message from my friend's wife, and it was multiple photos of screenshots of this website that was. It was clear from the screenshots that the website was on the regular internet; anyone could access it. And should I name the website?
Yeah.
It was. It's no longer up, but it was .co. So. .co, then that website went down, and it ended up being .to, like T as in Thomas, O as in Oscar. So I see this website, and I see the content in these screenshots that my friend's wife sent me. She doesn't know anything about computers, but she has kids herself, and she was like, "Can you do something about this?" And I read this content, and one of them was talking about a mother that wanted to have kids, and then have the kids be so that when the kids grew up, that they could, have and go even further. I mean, I'll pull up the screenshots because I'd like to explain like where my head was at that time. But as soon as I read these messages, I guess a switch flipped in my brain, and I left my friend's house immediately as I got the text, and I went home. I didn't know for sure that I was going to be able to get into this website. I just knew I wanted to do something about it. And I found a vulnerability in their platform. I got in, and from that point on, I started to exfiltrate the data every single day, all of the users. I noticed that a lot of people were soliciting on the site, so I didn't want to download those messages in case of the fact that I pull in some images that I'm not allowed to have, and nor do I want. So I made sure to only download the publicly facing stuff, which didn't include. It had some very graphic text, but it didn't include anything illegal, which I think it should be illegal to talk that way. But it was horrible stuff.
What were some of the? So you started this basically from a text conversation with a concerned mom. That's what got you into it.
Yeah.
What's some of the text that you saw on rapey.com?
I'd like to read them to you if you want. I still have them.
Read them.
So this is before I ever caught a single predator in my life. This was the beginning and what set my brain off to want to help. But this is before I even heard of this website, before I heard of anything to do with it. Okay, here they are. So the title, should I read these? Like they're graphic.
Yeah, read them.
So the title of this post is, "Who wants to bang these little?" And then somebody replied underneath, "I've got first dibs on the." Joseph Fritzl, Maximilian, there's two different users there. Pick for yourselves. And this was the photo that they used.
Oh my God.
That's just one of three. 3 text
These
messages.
girls look like they're 6.
Very young, yeah. And then there was that one story where I told you about I can't see it, but the story I told you about the bathtub situation where there was a father who posted their child in the bathtub, and it said underneath of it, they have no idea what's going to happen to them tonight. And then underneath of that, there were people that were part of this website who were saying what they were going to do to this child. And this wasn't just some fantasy that this guy was talking about. This was a guy posting his child in the bathtub, like for real. Like it really was his child. I assume he was a man, but it was a parent. So that really got to me. And then I got another part of this text message. I'll just read one more of the three. And this one says that they are a 16-year-old. A lot of these people were role-playing to be children. And in our investigations, we found out there was a lot of actual kids on this website, real kids, that were under 18 at the time of this when I hacked the site.
What are they doing on there?
They're selling their bodies for money to these
kids?
To these people, yeah.
It's kids prostituting themselves.
Yes. Yeah. So one of them, I don't know if this is a real 16-year-old or not, but what was said was pretty disturbing regardless. It said, God, I really want to be a mom. I need someone who wants to 16-year-old. When I have our daughter, I'd let you do whatever you wanted from whatever age. Make me watch as you teaching her how to lovingly. Don't worry if it's a boy. You can watch teaching him how to properly woman. Teaching him how to slap and hurt me to. He'd be so cute trying to so little.
Oh my God.
So when I got these text messages and reading them even current day right now, it makes me sick to my stomach to even think about. And I know they're gone. So, I mean, not all these people are still out there, but the website's down.
How many people are on this website?
At first, I thought it was a couple thousand. When I cleaned up the database and figured it out, there's about 7,000 people in just this one website, and we have a total of 5.
You have 7,000 people on one website.
And you couldn't become a member of this website unless you answered an application where you had to answer a question that was something like, "Are you okay with doing something horrible with a 3-year-old and in all of their holes?" You had to answer that question in detail. I forget the exact verbiage of the question. It's posted somewhere in regards to this interview or Project Veritas, one or the other. But you had to fill that out to become a member of the website you just saw, and which would tell me that either you're an undercover cop or you're an actual predator on the site. I mean, who would answer a question like that, even if they were just curious?
Is there multiple? So it's a whole questionnaire you have to do to get into the site.
There was a few questions, I think 2 or 3, that were really horrible, but you had to answer them, or they would not approve you to join the site.
Is there any other prerequisites to get on sites like these?
Yes. So what I learned in this process, doing the investigation and exporting, everything that I could legally export, I found that they used a chat app called Telegram, and they were going back and forth talking about and they would call it cheese pizza and use all kinds of different phrases for it. And I realized there was these moderators in the chat rooms outside of the website, where if you would send them, they would let you into another group, which was full of. But of course, I couldn't do that, so I never got to see past that part. But I do have evidence of that being a thing because I exported all the chat logs, so I can. It shows that if I were to send something horrible to one of those moderators, I would have seen something even worse, which is hard to imagine than we are already seeing here.
What did you do with that information? And actually, let me backtrack. I'm sorry. How long did it take you to crack into that website and get this information?
I wasn't sure, like I said, when I got the text messages, and I wanted to try to my goal was to just take the site down, and I knew I could make that happen because it was on the clear net, regular internet for anyone to visit. I knew I could do that, but I didn't know if I could actually get access to their server. Once I found the vulnerability, maybe an hour, 2 hours at the most, if I could remember correctly. It wasn't long. And they never found out they were hacked. So to this day, they never found out. They will never find out. I mean, unless somebody in that database is watching this, now you know. I have your data, and we will find you. So I actually recommend you come forward so we don't have to make the story up for you.
What did you do with this information?
So as soon as I got the information, I thought it was a slam dunk. I thought like these people were going to jail. I thought that maybe I solved something that the FBI or somebody was, working on for a long time. And I instantly went to the exploited children tip line, and I submitted, saying who the owner of the website was, that I had access to all the data, and that they were welcome to have it, basically. Then I reached out to a bunch of news stations, and talked to a ton of reporters, and all of them were super excited to talk to me.
What news stations?
Sun Sentinel, Daily Mail, Business Insider, Fox, some influencers, Ronan Farrow, Candace Owens, they both didn't read my messages. But as for the news stations, I had full conversations with the reporters. They knew what they were getting themselves into. They were very excited about reporting on it. And once it got back from legal, they weren't allowed to report on it. And I said, well, okay, if you're not allowed to report on the illegally obtained material that I have, just let parents know that this website exists, and whatever you want, but just keep whatever illegal out of it. I just want parents to know that this website exists. You don't need to put my name. You don't need to put the material that I obtained. Nothing. Every single one of them completely disregarded me. I sent a lot of those notes over to Project Veritas with some evidence of that. But not a single person until now has done anything about this.
Not any conservative media, not any liberal media, because unfortunately that's the day and age we live in now, right? None of them would touch this.
No.
None of them want to be involved in saving kids.
When I say I tried so hard, and nobody wanted to do anything.
So what wound up happening with the information?
So
law enforcement didn't want to get involved either.
No, so I called my attorney locally, and then I called an attorney in Virginia, because the owner of the website happened to be a Democratic politician and ran for Congress 2 times. His name is Nathan Larson, and I'll explain more about him in a second. But I talked to a lawyer in Virginia, because I knew that's where he lived, and I wanted to see what I could do from there. So the lawyer in Virginia basically told me she didn't know what to say. She never heard of anything like this. The lawyer in Florida reached out to the local task force, let them know that I had access to the information, and then as well as doing that tip line. So from that point on, all of these news stations and all the law enforcement connections, whatever you want to call them, they all were fully aware that Nathan Larson was running this website, that he was, he ran for Congress twice, that he was an extremist, he did crazy things, but he did run for Congress 2 different times in Virginia. So I thought that they would take that seriously. Well, completely ignored.
Completely ignored it. Project Veritas gave me access to some of the stuff you guys are working on together. Yeah. And in one of those videos, you're reading a quote from Nathan Larson. I'm going to read it right now. Mm-hmm. This is from Nathan Larson, Democratic politician that ran for VA Congress multiple times, ran a website for pedos to discuss their dark intentions and fantasies. Here's the quote. It's not enough kids and take their innocence. You also need to reproduce the next generation with them. Let them see that you prefer to the offspring you have with them than to continue to have with a woman who is no longer jailbait. The quote continues. But you can still sometimes. Just let her know, though, that what you love her for the most is producing with you a fresh, new, young girl, and that this is her main value and contribution hat. You think fondly of her. This is disgusting. I'm sorry. You think fondly of her because that beautiful daughter reminds you of her.
It's unimaginable. It's like, how do people think this way? But there's so many people that think this way that it's alarming. is the word for it. I don't know how else to put it. It's way more people than you'd think, than you'd like to believe.
Code words: pizza and cooking, and cheese pizza stands for.
Yep.
This is disgusting.
Yeah. It gets only worse than that. You know, it's really bad.
How much worse does it get?
Worse. I mean, people. This is a person talking about it, and it makes me uncomfortable just as much as it makes you uncomfortable. But you know, these people, what they're talking about, they're doing. You know, this guy isn't some guy with a bunch of fantasies. This guy got arrested 6 months after. Nobody did anything about it. And, you know, like I said, I try my best. He gets arrested 6 months later with a 12-year-old at a layover at an airport after he kidnapped her. So not only did he talk about it, he did it. And he got caught. You know, as for some other people, I don't know how much more I can go into it, but one guy we're investigating as of 2020, which is after I submitted the data, he got in trouble for doing something horrible to a child as well, became a fugitive, and I think they eventually got him. But, you know, we're not even close to through the list yet, and, you know, we got a lot more people to expose, and they're not just talking about it, they're doing it.
Let's backtrack real quick because you kind of breezed over what happened. So the guy with the daughter in the bathtub.
Yeah.
What happened?
That guy with the daughter in the bathtub, I don't know where he went. He's part of the database.
I'm talking about the guy that got arrested in Denver.
Oh, that's Nathan Larson.
Okay.
So Nathan Larson, he got arrested 6 months after the fact. After I hacked his site, after I submitted it to the authorities, to all the news stations, he gets arrested with a 12-year-old girl and gets arrested for kidnapping. And I don't think he got charged with rape, but he got the kidnapping charge. Nathan Larson then went to federal prison for that. And, you know, the website went down. And, you know, he sat in prison for, I forget what the sentence was, but it was quite a long time. And to my knowledge, when you're a person like him, you are going to be you're going to be separated in a federal prison from the regular inmates. And, you know, spoiler alert, but Nathan Larson's dead. And the reason why he's dead is due to starvation. The news says that it's suicide. If I had to guess, the inmates that were, you know, responsible for feeding him just let him, you know, starve to death. And I believe he deserved every second of that pain.
You and me both. So there's been five other sites that you've cracked into.
So when I hacked Rapey, Nathan left backups of his previous websites on the same server. So it really only took one site to get all five.
How many names altogether?
I can't give you an exact number. I'm not sure. I bet it's tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands of people. Are these people all in? Where do you know where they're all at? Are they from all over the country?
All over the
all
country.
Over the world?
Some are international, but most of them, you know, are in the country.
So when did 561 PC start?
So 561 PC is an organization that I created with a friend, Scrappy. He's an MMA fighter. It started because of the frustration that nothing happened from this original, this whole ordeal. You know, we're talking 2.5 years after the fact. I've been, you know, looking into information on predators for organizations on YouTube anonymously with my name not attached whatsoever. Just finding information and sending it over to the organizations, and then they would go and confront them themselves. And I did that for many organizations, like I said, completely anonymously. I wasn't looking for recognition or my name to be attached to anything. I meet Scrappy, Dustin Lampros, whatever you want to call him. He's a really good dude. And
Hold on, Scrappy's a professional MMA fighter in the UFC, correct?
He didn't get his call for the UFC yet, but he's 8-0 undefeated, 7 knockouts. He's likely going to get the call.
He's on the way.
Yeah, and even Dana White knows who he is, I believe. It's he's a good dude outside of fighting, He's a very nice guy, gentle heart, religious guy, great person in my eyes. So he was a good partner to pick for this upcoming project. And I was like, hey man, do you know how bad it is on the internet? Like I told him the story that I just told you. He was blown away by the fact that nothing happened. And I told him, I said, like, let me show you how bad it is, not just tell you. So I was like, Google search, teen chat room, Florida. Or, it was something similar to that. So he Googled it. I told him, click any chat room. I don't care which one it is. He clicks the chat room. He clicked guest. He didn't have to make an account. Made his name Ashley, 13, female, Florida. Something like that. And just said hi in the chat room. And within 5 minutes, he must have got 40, 50, 60 messages from grown men, some naked, some trying to video chat, some saying that, they want to meet up, and very horrible things, like grown men hanging out in these teen chat rooms. From that point on, he realized how serious this actually was. And I was like, hey, well, that it's not just these chat rooms. It's most of the time it's social media apps like Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Tinder, all of them. It's anywhere a kid has access to. Roblox, Minecraft, their Xbox when they're talking to their friends. These predators are on everything. So I said to him, hey, if we get some decoys in there and they grown women or grown men, they pretend to be children, we can go and try to catch these people and expose them in real life. Just the same way I've been helping organizations for 2.5 years do it, except instead of me sending it to them, we'll do it ourselves. We'll clean up at least try our best to clean up our town in South Florida. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm definitely down to do it. And of course, at first you think when somebody says they're down to do something like that, it's a hit or miss. But he was on point, ready to go. And, we've caught 14 people now in a couple months of doing it. And, local law enforcement, Delray Beach Police, have been incredible. And we're just going to continue to grow. If anybody's interested in checking that out, it's at 561PC, like 561 Predator Catchers on Instagram, same as for YouTube. And you'll find me there, and you'll also find Scrappy there.
Let's rewind. What was your first operation like?
My first what?
Your first operation. What's the first guy you guys caught together as a team? How did that go down?
So the first guy we caught as a team was just a complete test. Scrappy and I used an app called Grindr, which is a gay dating app for the most part, not only gay, but mostly gay. And we both used a filter to make ourselves look younger. And we just started talking to any guy that messaged us. We didn't message anybody first. We waited for people to message us. And one guy eventually, within an hour, decided to talk to us. And we went out, met him, called the cops, and the guy ran to the bathroom. We couldn't film in the bathroom.
Where'd you meet him?
Right on Atlantic Ave in Delray, in front of 1 million people. And I embarrassed. I screamed at the top of my lungs at what he was there to do. And, I don't do that anymore because you can get a disorderly conduct for that. I didn't know that at the time. But that was my first encounter. Guy just ran to the bathroom, though, and hid until the cops got there. And at that time, the cops had no clue what was going on, so they just let him go.
Have you gotten anybody arrested?
Yeah, multiple people.
How many?
3 so far.
Let's go over the first one that you got arrested. What did that operation look like?
That one is actually... let me go. Do you mind if I go over the guy that I know the full story of right now? Because some of them are active. So, one guy, we have a YouTube video, and we made him, do we made him do push-ups and sit-ups, to distract them while the cops were on their way, and he said that that the girl had breeding hips, and I believe he said something about wanting to take a shower with her or something like that. And how Florida works is they have the police station and then they have the state attorney. Some states have district attorneys, some states have state attorneys. I think they're the same thing, but they're just named differently. But the state attorney is the one that ultimately makes a decision on if the person is going to be convicted or charged with these charges. But the cops make the decision on what they're being charged with. So We meet the guy. He admits to everything, that he said in the chat logs. He admits to maybe even a little bit more. Then he admits it again to the police officers. He goes in the interrogation room. I send the chat logs and the video to them while they're interrogating. He admits everything to them because it's not evidence until the predator says it. Like, our evidence isn't valuable because we're vigilantes. So, it's not technically evidence unless the police obtain it. So all of that went well. The cops Delray police spent a ton of time building the report out for this guy. State attorney, was kind of iffy about it seemed. And the entirety of the case was thrown out because there was no shower inside of Walmart. So there's no way he could have showered.
You've got to be shitting me.
Yeah. So it's a little bit rough. We had a meeting.
Do you know who's responsible for that case getting dropped?
I don't. I know it's the state attorney for Palm Beach County, but yeah, I don't know the exact name.
Is that an elected slot?
I believe so.
We should look that name up and post it right here.
It's wild to me, but the one thing that I can say is that one of the sergeants who used to be a detective did have a meeting with us right after that and told us what the state attorney would be looking for to secure a conviction. So we are trying to fall within those guidelines now. Like, we call the cops regardless every time, but we're not sure if we're going to get an arrest or not unless it falls within the guidelines that we're told.
Ryan, do you think you could demonstrate right here, right now, how fast these sexual predators will show up in a chat room?
Yeah.
Fire your computer up. Let's do it.
All right. I'm recording, so now I'm just going to say, hi, who wants to chat? And I named myself Ashley Female New Jersey, 13 Female New Jersey. Let's see how many private messages come in. 2 already. 3.
It's been like 10 seconds.
Yep. Hey, want to fool around? Hey, how old are you? Let me just copy that and send that to everybody because we got other messages coming in.
What chat room are you in?
Just a teen chat. Hey, you want to cuddle a bit? I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt right now that they didn't read the. Oh, he's 47.
47 years
okay
old in a teen
age?
chat room. You got him in what? 5 seconds? He's already messaging in?
Oh yeah, there's a ton. I can't even keep up with them here because every time I click one, there's more on the list. He says he's okay. I said, are you okay with my age? He says, yes, age 13, like my profile says. I got 2 more messages, so now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm 19. Let's ignore the 19-year-old, even though it's disgusting.
It hasn't even been 60 seconds yet.
Okay, there's another guy. Here's the other guy. This guy's 15. Ignore him. That is a real teenager in a teen chat. The 47-year-old says, he said age. I said 13 like my profile says. He said name. Ashley. And another guy just messaged. How old are you? Okay, this person's a child too. So out of all of these, there's one guy here who is 47 years old, less than a minute, who wants to talk to a child in a teen chat. And I only said hi in the chat room, nothing else.
Holy shit, dude. You jumped in a chat room. You called yourself Ashley 13, New Jersey. Literally less than 10 seconds. We have a 47-year-old wanting to have sex with a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how quick it is. Like I Googled teen chat. I'm in a different state, so I get different results here for, the local teen chats. There's no way for me to set it up. All I did was say hi in the chat room and press enter. And a bunch of messages came in. Some were from actual teenagers, as it should be in a teen chat. And one of the guys, which, who knows if they really are teenagers? That's another thing. But one guy was open about that he was 47 years old, and he was completely fine with the age.
Where all is this happening? Is this happening Just list off where this is happening that everyday people use all the time.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Kik, WhatsApp, Roblox, Minecraft, Xbox, PlayStation.
Xbox and PlayStation?
Yeah, because you can chat with random people in games. They could represent themselves as whoever they want. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just, the list goes on. Anywhere where a human can communicate with another human, the child is not safe. So parents need to be watching that. And not just assuming like, if your kid says, hey, I'm on the phone with my friend, which friend is it? Is it one that I know? Like you can't be scared of being a helicopter parent, because if your kid's aggravated at you for a couple of minutes for, being overprotective in these scenarios, I think it's not your fault regardless of what happens, but to save them from a life of trauma, I think it might be worth the extra couple minutes or aggravating your kid to see who they're actually talking to, see who their friends really are, and just spend that extra time, because it could save a lifelong battle with trauma.
This happened to somebody I know in Parkland. I remember I used to live in Boca, so I got a lot of friends down there. Happened in Parkland. He's got a couple daughters, and she was blackmailed by somebody and had taken pictures, and it's everywhere, just as you just demonstrated it. I mean, 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds, and he's on there.
Yeah.
Is this the case every single time?
Yeah. Some of the guys want to chat for longer before they meet up in person, but yeah, it's that easy. It's not good that it's easy, but it is that easy to find them. They're out there, and they're being predatory, like the name states.
How? I don't know what to call it. I don't want to call it a success rate, but what is the percentage of people that you're talking to on here that will come and meet?
Depends on how long you talk to them, and if you can convince them that you're not a police officer.
Would you say the majority of them?
Way more than the majority, yeah.
90%?
Yeah.
Over 90%?
It depends if they ask to meet or not yet, because sometimes it takes a while for them to chat. So I would say, yeah, like if they ask to meet, 95% plus if they ask to meet up.
95%, you think?
Yeah.
Damn. How did Project Veritas get involved with it?
They saw a viral podcast of me talking about the website, and they were interested, and they said, well, I want to help you bring justice to this, to what the other stations failed to bring justice to, and the FBI even failed to, or everybody failed me. I felt like they failed me. And Project Veritas said, hey, well, we will do something about this. We'll put our whole team on it. We're going to bring light to this. We're going to bring these people out of the dark corners of the earth. And it made me feel like, okay, I have a team here. I have people that are willing to, fly across the country and meet me in a 24-hour notice, which they did, to have a conversation. They flew me out to New York to do an interview. Just off my word. I could have been lying. I could have been a member. Who knows what they didn't know who I was. So they just took my word for it, and they gave me the most compassion and love more compassion and love than I would have ever expected, and still are to this day.
What does this collaboration between you and them look like? How are they? You're obviously feeding them all the information that you've uncovered so far. Are you still getting more information?
So right now we're going off the data that I already have, which is so much, especially with Nathan Larson's websites. The one we're focusing on at the moment is rapey.co and .to. So anyone that was on that list is going to be investigated. We have all of their information, or ways to find it. So we're just going to go down that list, keep exposing them in person, and we've found quite a few already. So it's only going to get more extreme, especially as the team gets bigger. And hopefully we do some justice, put some more in prison, uncover some secrets.
How are you guys? So they sent me, so this interview is timed perfectly. When Project Veritas starts to release this information, we're right behind them. We've talked to them. We're collaborating with them. Mm-hmm. We want to just dump gas and amplify what you guys are doing to get this word out. So what does this collaboration look like between you and them? You're feeding them the information, and then how are they reaching out to these guys, and how are they getting them to come in and confess to this stuff?
They have their own ways of dealing with undercover operations and like filming undercover. But when we find the information on the people, we're going off the database, we're taking the information per user, we're tying that to what we have some archived images of when the website did exist. So we could say, this user said this at this time or replied to this at that time, figure out who that user is, and then organize a team to go out there and meet them. But the process of finding out who they are is called OSINT, or Open Source Intelligence. And Project Veritas has been doing that already for years, as well as me. I specialize in OSINT, and obviously being a hacker, it just comes with the territory. So working together as a team, finding these people has been no different than what I would do on a daily basis, except it's just making a bigger impact.
How many guys have you guys put in prison so far?
I don't think I can talk about that part yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll wait. Let's talk about the John Lewis confrontation.
Yep.
He was on rapey.to website with his email link to it. He says he found the website through a Telegram group.
Yeah.
First, he admits to having a fetish to young children, went to therapy for help with that addiction, has been going for many years and has made a little progress with his addiction.
Addiction to porn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that interview at all? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I watched the interview, and the guy is in a facility for his addiction to porn, but was completely cognizant and coherent. Or he wasn't like a mental health case to like where he didn't know right from wrong. He definitely was fully aware of what he was doing. Like I said, he's one of 7,000 on that list, but he did admit on an undercover camera that he was to child, he was soliciting, and that he was a member of not only but those Telegram groups I mentioned earlier that were trading and soliciting child. He admitted all of that clear as day on camera. So that will be forwarded along to the police, and we'll see what happens from there. But that was very recent, his confrontation.
The application question to join the group. We've already gone over this. If a man wants to his 3-year-old daughter in every while she is, do you have a problem with that? Please elaborate on your thought process so we can better judge your suitability for this site. John Lewis's response: I do have a problem with that. That's disgusting. Then they expose the conversation, make a video in the school basement. Denied it. It was a lie. Denied receipt. Passed. He only admits to having seen but did not distribute it. And then confessed to have looked or seen images, never physically acting on those urges. And then later confessed.
Right. And says that he never did any of that, and what he says that he did on the forum. He legitimately says that he kid in the basement across from the school, and just by chance, that's where he lives, across from a school where his parents live. So, he could say he didn't or he did, but the fact that he admitted to, like, I've been in some very, very tough spots in my life, but I've never thought about a child ever.
Neither.
I doubt you have either. It's if I don't trust anything you say.
Yeah.
You know, so if you tell me on a forum that you kid in the basement, you probably in the basement. That's what I'm gonna safely assume.
Do you know what happened to this guy?
That's like I said, that one's so new that I'm not sure what's gonna happen to him. But hopefully
He's still out there right now, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do we solve this shit, man?
There's no way to solve it for sure. Like, you know, it's never going to go away. And unfortunately, we have some states that are trying to normalize it. We have states that are trying to make it a sexual orientation. And then we have other states
What
like
states?
California being the main one that I know of.
What are they doing?
They're trying to make it a sexual orientation. I think they're calling it something attracted minors or something.
They're making this a thing. They're making it okay. We need to accept. So now we need to accept people who are little kids.
Yes. That's what they're trying to do.
We need to accept that now.
Yeah, California is one state that they're trying to make it part of a sexuality to be attracted to children.
It's a sexuality to be attracted to children. Do you know any of the other states that are doing this?
I could Google it, but I mean, California is the main one that I know of.
Not surprising.
Yeah, not surprising.
Not surprising at all.
Yeah, so that blows my mind that's even a thought. And then there's people that defend these guys as it's a mental illness, it's a sickness, it's this, it's that. I don't care what it is because it affects somebody else. You know, it's going to ruin somebody's life forever.
Why do you think these states are pushing this shit?
I don't know. But Florida, I'll give you a good example. I mean, DeSantis is trying to pass a bill to issue the death penalty for sex crimes against children.
From what I understand, that's in place. Is that in place now?
Is it locked in? It must have been recent if so, but...
I don't want to misspeak, but the way I understood it is that it is in there now, and that if you're doing this shit and you get caught, they're going to fucking kill you.
I love that.
Why is it...
That should be the case everywhere, in my opinion.
Why are all the Democrat states trying to legalize this shit and make this normal? I don't fucking understand that.
I don't know.
I don't know how you can vote for that shit. I don't know how you can affiliate with that shit. I don't know how you can think it's okay. It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. It's like, you know,
they're normalizing kids.
Yeah. And they're creating people
and people are voting this shit in.
Yeah.
Fucking Gavin Newsom got recalled and they voted him in again. And look at this shit. Now he's making this shit normal. I mean, I hate to get fucking political, but what the fuck is wrong with these people?
I agree with you. It's I can't explain. I wish I could. I wish I could explain why we just got a message in 10 seconds in a random chat room from a 47-year-old man wanting to. But I can't. I have no explanation. And all I know is that we need to find a way for parents to be educated and for kids, when they get old enough, to be educated, so that this doesn't happen to them. That's all I know that I could do. And the only other thing I know I could do outside of educating parents, schools, children, is help some organizations out that human trafficking and victims of any type of sexual assault, whether they're children or adults. Like I have the resources and the team and the skill set to be able to help people. I just need those people to be put in place, as well as, let's say, parents monitoring their child on an app. I have some ideas in my head for apps, but I don't want to plug a specific app if I don't know if it's great or if I can trust them. So,
even if you don't plug an app, Ryan, what do these apps do? So if I put this app on my son's phone, what do I get?
So you're going to know where he's at all times. You're going to be able to read his text messages. You'll be able to check his app usage. You'll be able to, lock down certain parts of the phone that you don't want him to be on. And just basically as if you have access to the phone, but you have more access than him. It's really more, I think it's more important to do that and have your kid aggravated at you than, like I said, the latter.
Yeah, I mean, I would 100% agree with you.
I mean,
So
do you know the
basically, these
statistics
apps.
with like the 1 in 10 people before the age of 18 are sexually assaulted, and 40% are 12 years old or under?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, that's
40%.
40% are under 12. So it's important to do this stuff, you know?
So with these apps, so the way I'm understanding what you're saying is, if I put one of these apps on anybody's phone, I basically get control, just like you were talking about earlier, of people's computer. I can control everything they're doing, what they're
It's
looking
like
at.
a commercial remote access Trojan.
How easy is it to manipulate the app? I mean, because here's my concern. I'm getting old, and my son's going to be a lot more tech savvy than I am.
Right.
So he's going to learn how to defeat that.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't think that it's going to be easy as of right now. I know it's not easy. I know of one that my uncle is using, and it hasn't been beaten by his daughter. So you know, I don't think it'll be that easy. Nothing's impossible, but you know, they could always get on a computer, which there's other ways to protect the computer. If it was me as a kid, maybe I'd get a little more crafty, because you know, that's what I like to do. I like to hack computers. But I don't know. It would stop me and make me second guess what I was doing if I knew my parents or parent was watching everything that I was doing online. I would second guess my conversations and who I talked to.
Damn, man. This shit is...
Because, like, I'll give you one example. A guy was talking to our decoy. This is like the second or third person that we caught. Talking to our decoy in a normal chat room, not like that, like you know, regular social media site, and was using a photo of some guy that was in a band as his profile photo, using a fake phone number, fake age, and a fake name. And we were like, we can't find information on him. Like, we can meet up with him, but we're not going to know anything about the guy. So we eventually got the decoy to get the guy to send pictures of his face. And he sent some real pictures of his face. I was able to find him on the internet, found his real name, found, you know, that he was not the age that he said, not the name that he said, that he wasn't even using his real photos. He booked a hotel room. He even actually ordered pizza to the hotel room, thinking that he was meeting with an 11-year-old at that time. And it's, you know, you got to remember that the 11-year-old he thought he was talking to was under the assumption they were meeting some guy from a band that was younger, that got a hotel for the night, that just ordered pizza, when in reality it's some guy in his mid-40s them. It's unbelievably messed up.
Let's take a break. I need a break. All right, Ryan, we're back from the break. Sorry, man, I was getting a little too angry before the break, so I
understand.
Wanted to cool off for a minute. But while we were on the break, I want to clear a couple things up. We were talking about the California law and the Florida law. So we printed some stuff up. This is from the Liberty Champion. I didn't realize this stuff in California got signed into law in 2020.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know, you know, God knows what more they've done since then.
Yeah, who knows?
I know the LGBTQ plus community, from what it says in one of those articles, they were not happy at all about this decision. So it seems they're not in support of, or at least the LGBTQ movement is not in support of the sexually attracted to minors or men. I can't remember the acronym.
So the plus, is that what this is?
I believe so, but I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah,
so
let's just stick to what we know. So I'm just going to read this. This is a report from the Liberty Champion. It is an opinion poll. I think this portion is factual. You can look it up. We're on a time crunch, so whatever, look it up. But according to this, a couple weeks ago, this is dated October 12th, 2020. A couple weeks ago, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a law that would allow judges to decide whether or not to list someone as a sex offender for having or with a minor. According to the bill, it only applies to consensual sex, whether it be between a minor 14 years old or older. So as long as they're 14, you're good in California. Well, I guess you're not good. It's up to the judge.
Yeah, it's up to the judge, and they believe that children can consent at that age. And then from what I know, just hearing things or reading things, that there is they want to make it a sexuality in certain states, one being California, that you're attracted to minors overall. And I don't believe kids can consent personally, not in the slightest.
This goes on to say, it looks like this is an opinion poll, so I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but it looks like they're adding it to the LGBTQ plus community. Minors deserve the right to consensual sex too.
That's ridiculous.
That's not from me. That's from this.
Right.
I totally disagree with this shit. Just
Agreed.
in case somebody tries to make a weird sound.
Yeah, I don't agree with it either.
But then we go, and then the Florida thing. This is April 20th, 2023. This is from ABC News. They're really upset about this, if you read the whole article. But Florida Governor Ron DeSantis on Thursday signed a bill that will allow juries to impose the death sentence even if all 12 jurors do not agree. He is also likely to approve a second bill passed by the lawmakers on next Tuesday, that would make sexual battery of a child under the age of 12 a death penalty offense. It's quite the difference between the two states there.
Agreed.
I know where I'd want to live.
I do live in Florida and totally agree with what he's trying to do.
I just can't believe people are into this shit. You know?
Yeah, I do it every day, and I still can't believe it.
But so we're going to kind of wrap things up here. There's a couple of things that we haven't talked about yet. I know you got a couple of facts, statistics that you want to rattle off. Before we get to that real quick, let's go over a couple of examples. On our break, you were talking about confronting a man in Delray Beach.
Yes.
Who then was later caught. And then we also talked about a letter that you got from I don't want to say a gentleman's attorney, a pedophile's attorney.
Right.
Basically standing up for him, trying to pay you. I'll leave it to you from here. Let's start with the
So I'll start with the guy. The video as of recording now isn't on our YouTube channel, but by the time this is released, people will be able to watch this man's video. He showed up after talking to our decoy and talking sexually. He was fully aware of the age, and I looked into the guy. The guy went to school to be a teacher. He has a bachelor's in teaching, teaching to some degree. I don't know what specific topic or if teaching is just a degree, but he is a teacher. He taught at 2 different schools.
What schools?
I have them on my computer. I don't have them off the top of my head.
Local Florida schools?
One is an online tutor school and another one's not. So, but he has two properties, one in Massachusetts and one in Florida. He showed up to meet. His name was Brent. And I walked up to him with the camera, Scrappy behind me, and we called his name. And the guy just starts walking away while he's on the phone with our decoy. And we're like, hey, we have all your information. We know where you live. We know you're like, instead of just saying we know where you live, we're giving him the address. We're telling him where, his name. We're telling him where he's worked. We're telling him age. Like, this guy knew that we knew who he was, and he kept walking and kept walking. Then he goes into a full sprint. He's full sprinting through the Walmart, and I'm not a big runner, so I just start chasing after him. I'm running as fast as I can to catch up with him. I got the camera in my hand, and I'm screaming at the guy, saying, like, what are you doing here? Like, what's going through your head? Guy gets in his car, he drives away. Didn't get a word out of the guy. So we thought, okay, let's just report it to the police. We'll put the video up. It'll just be a short video. We'll attach some of the chat logs so people see he was a teacher. And I thought that was the end of it. A couple days later, I get a text message from a friend that says, "Hey, didn't you just catch this guy?" Her name's Courtney Elizabeth. She's a predator catcher. She texted me a screenshot from another predator catcher 1,200 miles away in Pennsylvania. So we're in Florida originally. This guy drove to Pennsylvania for whatever reason. I don't know why he was there, if he was on his way to Massachusetts. I don't know what he was doing there, but got caught again by another predator catching group. And I reached out to that predator catcher, Luzerne County predator catcher. He does his county and is known in that specific area. And he sent me all the chat logs. One of the chat logs said that he was chased out of Walmart by 2 police officers. And the guy has no idea who we were because we didn't get a chance to say, we didn't get a chance to even tell him what we were doing. So just, the point of the matter is he didn't get the point the first time. He likely ran from Florida because he thought he was being investigated or wanted by the police. And then you also have to think, if he got caught twice by 2 predator catchers, which is not the most common, profession or niche in the world, how many times this man has not been caught? So it's disgusting, that he's a teacher, and disgusting that he'd do it twice. But just think of the amount of times this man has probably not been caught. So that was one thing. And then we caught another guy that I wanted to reference. We caught another guy named Steven. We went to his job. We asked for him.
What was his job?
He's a manager at a seafood restaurant. And we showed up there. We sat at the table. He was supposed to meet with our decoy. At that point, it was 13 or 14 years old. My memory serves me correctly. And he bailed last second that day. A lot of times these guys will bail and then they'll come back, or they never really disappear because they can't control themselves. This guy was very sexual. He said that he wanted our decoy to sit on his face. He wanted her to come back to his house. Horrible things. So we were like, you know what? We're not going to let this guy just bail and disappear. We know where he works. We have his information. Let's just go there, order 2 glasses of water. We know he's the manager, so he'll come up after we request the manager, and we'll bring him outside and have a conversation. So we did that. He was fully aware that he was being recorded, and everything was very transparent what was going on. We asked questions. He told us the answers to them. He knew we weren't police. He knew he was free to go at any time, and he offered a ton of information. That was up to him. That gets over with. Police come. We give the police all the information that we have, and some time goes by, and I get an email, which the original email was, saying to take the video down off of the internet, and that went to Scrappy's cell phone, and he didn't see it at first, but then when he did, he sent it to me, and then I replied to it. But the first email was straight to the point, like, take this video down. It's in violation of this statute, of the privacy laws of Florida, and last time I checked, you can record in public. You have no expectation of privacy in a public place, audio or video. And so I wasn't too concerned about the threat from the law firm who's representing our predator. So I sent the reply back and I said, take a look at the person that you are representing. Here are the chat logs if you want to be clear, because I didn't release them with the video. So the attorney could read all of the horrible things that the guy not only admitted in the video, but that he said himself in the chats with pictures of his face. Then they reply a few days later, and I'll read you their reply. They said, thank you for your response. In accordance with Florida Statute 934.03, we are requesting that you remove the video. As stated in my previous email, this video is exposing Mr. Blank to an increased risk of physical harm. In the video, you have exposed his face and full name without his consent, which is a violation of privacy laws. See below. And then this is from the statute. In Florida, it's illegal to record an in-person or telephone conversation without the consent of all parties. Violating this law constitutes either a misdemeanor or third-degree felony, depending on the offender's intent and conviction history, can also subject the offender to civil damages. And then at the bottom, this is the kicker, We respect everything that you do and acknowledge your mission of doing what is right and protecting the public. In fact, we would like to offer you $1,000 to support your cause and for the administrative costs for their removal. I will also be at your service if you need our help in the future, if you face any legal issues with your channel. Again, we're not looking for a battle, we're looking for your help. Respectfully, blank. So I will not release their firm's name. I don't respect the fact that they're representing a predator, but they haven't filed a lawsuit against me at this point. If they do, this email is in my possession. It was sent to me. I can release this email. It's not a threat by any means, but I will release it to let the public know that, somebody's representing a predator and trying to make my life and Scrappy's life more difficult, about exposing a local predator. And then number two, the fact that they said that they would want to represent us. Why would we ever want legal advice from somebody that would take most likely $500 from a predator to take down a video that is educating the people in the area who's dangerous? Why would we want to be represented by somebody that's okay with that?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to let you know that one. It blew my mind.
This stuff just goes on and on and on. And Ryan, I want to get you back here again to dive into this more, maybe in 6 months or so, because I know there's going to be a bunch of stuff that develops. But
yeah.
So I know you have a couple of statistics you want to rattle off.
Sure.
And let's rattle those off, and then let's try to end this with something positive.
Okay.
But,
yeah, agreed. So these are just just some statistics about human trafficking, which it coincides with exactly what we're doing, catching predators and these pedophile ring websites. 1 in 5 U.S. teenagers who have received an unwanted sexual solicitation online. That's Crimes Against Children Research Center. 13 years old is the average age at which a child first encounters an explicit website, which comes from Guard Child. 75% of children are willing to share personal information with strangers. That comes from eSafety Commissioner.
75%?
75%. 50% of sexual exploitation incidents involving children that begin on social media platforms.
What was that percentage?
50%. They begin, which I believe is higher.
Yeah.
27% of online child exploitation cases involving a perpetrator who is a family member or acquaintance. Source: National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the people that ignored me. But yeah, 27% of people are cases involving family members and acquaintances, which I think that number's higher too. So they're just statistics. They're not always accurate. But either way, they're still horrible, regardless of which way you look at it.
Yeah, it's something to try to wrap your head around and understand the severity and how much this shit happens. But moving on, let's get into some good news. Let's talk about how we solve this thing,
right.
Which seems, when you look at it and you see you can enter just any chat room and somebody shows up in 5 seconds to...
Literally within 10 seconds we had that message, or it might have been 5.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
And we'll find out in the video when we edit. But just to bring some hope to people, we actually the videographer came up with a great option, at least to start. And he was saying, you make a database. We pull all of your information, intelligence that you've yanked out of these sites, and hopefully you'll continue to exploit these sites with that information, and make a database, a public database that has all the people that are associated with these sites, names, addresses, pictures, if we can get them, all of it. And then people, schools, businesses, people that are looking to hire, parents, anybody can just go onto this database, type in a name, see if it pops up.
Or a face.
Or a face.
Yeah.
Or both.
Yep.
I think that's phenomenal idea.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like we were saying on the break, it's not like these people are innocent by, like, there's no possible chance of them being innocent. There's chat logs of them talking sexually to what they believe is a minor. And then there's video evidence of them showing up there at the time they say they're going to be there, most of the time on the phone with what they think is a child while they're walking through the store or through a public place to meet who they think is a kid. So the database of, if a cop can't get a charge to stick, or the state attorney doesn't want to go through with the case, well, then the public should know regardless, because then they can make their decision based on the evidence that was gathered by the public.
I don't know what the legalities would be either, but if you are an attorney who knows this subject and you want to help, reach out to Zero Day, reach out to Project Veritas, reach out to us.
Yeah.
All those links will be in the description. But man, I think that would be, you know what else I think? We should shame the attorneys who are representing predators.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. I mean, there's no
Put 'em on
money
a
in the world
billboard.
that you could pay me to get rid of this information, to stop the journey that I'm on right now. I don't care what you offered me. It's not happening. It's not worth it. I care too much about kids. I don't even have a kid. And again, off the break, I said, I can't, I don't know how I'm going to act when I have a kid. I'm already crazy. And, it's about my friends' kids, like I'm going to be, I need to find a balance between being a crazy parent and letting my kid have their own space, because I'm terrified.
Yeah, me too. I don't even, this stuff really gets to me. And when we connected, I told you my goal this year is to dive into this subject and bring a lot of awareness to it. And man, this shit eats me alive, and then you read stuff like what California's doing, and it's, I mean, they're making this, they're trying to normalize it.
Yeah.
So if you're a pedo, move to California.
Right. Yeah. Move
If
there.
you're not down with that, move out of California.
I guess so.
It's getting to be that simple. They're gonna look what's going on there.
Yeah.
Everything, the whole, anyways, whatever. But I really want your word to get out, and I want to connect you with some people. I want to connect you with my friend Matt Murphy, who's doing Operation Light Shine. He's making a huge dent in this stuff. I think how this ends. Obviously, government's not going to get involved,
Right.
especially in particular states. I guess Florida's getting involved.
Florida might. Yeah.
But whatever, government moves as slow as a snail. So I think what it's going to be is it's going to be this collaborative effort from citizens, people like you, people like Matt Murphy, going after these guys. There's other organizations out there, and it's this big it's turning into this big collaborative effort, to get rid of these people and expose what they're doing and educate the public on how to keep your kids safe. And just, Ryan, just with what you're doing, I think I may have brought this up at the beginning, but I mean, if you think about the impact that you're having, you're educating kids. Kids are going to wise up to this stuff. That's going to drop the numbers. Parents are going to be listening to this. They're going to wise up to this. That's going to drop numbers. Mm-hmm. Predators are going to watch this and realize we're coming for them.
And we are heavily.
And they're going to get scared, and some of them are going to stop. So just by doing this show, this one show, it's going to stop a handful. It's going to save at least one kid.
That's
I can
good with
guarantee
me.
you that.
One kid is good with me.
I want to also, actually I already sent the text, but I want to introduce you to a podcast that's, they do phenomenal work. It's called Concrete. It's run, their host is a guy named Danny Jones. I think he's somewhere in the Tampa area.
Okay.
I'd love to connect you with him. I haven't even met him in person, but I'm a huge fan of their podcast. That's one that I watch. They
I think I've
dive
actually
deep
seen
into
it.
stuff.
I've seen it with, I met one of the guys.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Well,
I didn't meet any of the producers of the show, somebody that was interviewed. He was a fraud guy, but yeah.
Well, I'd like to introduce you to them because I think they will have the courage to help you get the word out. And there's another guy, Julian Dorian, who I'm actually going on his show here pretty soon. And I want to make that connection too, because that guy, he does some really, really, really good work. And I'd love to make all three of those connections with Matt, Concrete Guys, and Julian Dorian. So
I really appreciate that very much. And yeah, the more we can make, the more noise we make, the better. And like I said, the resources that I have and the abilities that I have and the abilities my team has, especially with the cybersecurity company and my hacking team combined, the more resources, the more we can do. I mean, it's very simple. If I don't have access to these missions, or I don't have access to some tips or what, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What I want to end this, I want to say, if you have fallen victim to this, or you know somebody that's fallen victim to this, speak up about it. Get in touch with Ryan Montgomery. All your links are going to be in the description. 0 Day, your Instagram, with a 0, not spelled 0. 561PC, that'll be linked. Project Veritas and everything that they're doing, all that stuff's going to be linked in the description. And if you don't want to reach out to them, you can reach out to us and we'll put you in contact with them because they're the ones doing the real work. And this is how we battle this shit. You've got to speak up. You've got to get to people that can lead you to the right people, and we got to expose these people. The predators. Man, what a heavy subject.
Yeah, unbelievable.
What do you got coming up?
Well, hopefully, this release comes out, and I have some people reaching out, and not entirely sure I want to do them based on some things we just researched, but yeah, more to come. I think that I'll start with your connections.
Right on, man. Yeah. Well, Ryan, I just want to say, man, you're just a great human. Helping addiction, helping people that are addicts out, and then it morphed into this. And you obviously have a heart of gold, and it shows. And
thanks.
I'm just proud to know.
Likewise, man. Likewise.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
All right, brother. Best of luck, and I'll see you soon.
See you soon.